Hey, Mattias, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Ken mentioned you're going to sit out the first few days of camp. We've got a little bit of a hip flexor tightness or whatever. Nothing too serious. Can you kind of update us on that?
Yeah, no, it's, I've been here all summer, and we started to skate, and I started to feel it a little bit, so it's nothing more than that. It's more maintenance right now, and knowing that we have a couple weeks here to spare. Usually you don't do that in the regular season, then you kind of just have to go at it. So we just looked at it that way to kind of play it safe and make sure that I'm 100% come whenever that is and within the next couple weeks.
It was your first off season in Edmonton. Your family moved here. We saw you at a lot of events. You really kind of jumped into the community aspect of it. Kind of what's your sense of, we know where the team's at, but when you live in that city in the off season, you get even more of a sense of just kind of the expectations of the city now.
Yeah, it was a great summer for us, to be honest with you. Usually when we go back, it's like we're here for such a long period of the year. We have 3 kids. Everyone wants to see them. Everybody wants to hang. It's a lot of stuff going on. Now it was just like we were here by ourselves, and we could be more as a family and spend more time together. So we really enjoyed that. And then second of all, I mean, we moved to a new city mid-season. Everything's crazy. Everything's going on. To kind of get these 3-4 months to just settle in, and I mean, we got a house, so to get into the neighborhood. I mean, my oldest have been community league soccer, and just to meet friends. We were in a great neighborhood, so from that aspect, it's been really great, and to be able to see Edmonton and see the city and meet some people and all that. So we're really happy with the summer and the decision that we made to stay here.
I'm not sure if this is a fair question, but tell me if it's not. 2 years ago, the Oilers went 3 rounds and lost to Colorado. Last year, they went 2 rounds and lost to Vegas. Is the feeling that you were closer to a Stanley Cup last year, maybe even than the year before?
I mean, I wasn't here for that Colorado series, but I see what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you. I think we felt that series it wasn't the Stanley Cup final. It wasn't at all. There was still 2 rounds to be played, but there was 2 really good teams going at it for sure. And now one of the 2 ended up winning the cup. So I see where your question's coming from, but yeah, I mean, you look back at that series, it could have gone either way. I thought when Game 5, and before we take those 2 penalties, I think we have them right where we wanted them, and then it just flips in an instant, and that's what the playoffs is all about. And that's something that we'll have to make sure we find a way here, first off in the regular season, but come playoff time too, hopefully we will be there and learn from those things, because it's just, you can't take a shift off in the playoffs. It just happens that quick. And did I think we were that much worse than Vegas in that series? Probably not. But did we deserve to win? Probably not again. So we'll have to it's something that we've been sitting on all summer too. You know that feeling, how it's almost worse when you know you're that close too, and you kind of let it slip away. So it's obviously exciting because we have the same group pretty much, and we have the same team, and we know what we can do. So at the same time, it's really hard and really tough loss, and it sucks to have one slip away, but at the same time, we know that we're that close, and we pretty much have the same team. So hopefully we'll learn our lesson there.
Hi, Mattias. What's it been like shifting from man-to-man defense to zone defense at home with the 3?
Toughest transition of my life so far, that's for sure. But no, it's been great because we had our first 2 we had in season. They were born in February and March, and now to have one in the middle of the summer and the off season, to be able to be part of the whole process, knowing that I'm for sure going to be there. I was there with the other 2 too, so I'm blessed that way. But yeah, just to be part of the restructuring of our home, pretty much that's what you do. You go through that, and now we're gonna have to deal with 3, and it's, you kind of trust the older one a little bit more, but just to be part of that and how we set everything up, and to be home for the first almost 2.5 months has been great. It's been great for the family. I don't know if we would have been able to do it without without it. So yeah, it's very different, but it's also very great. We're very happy. We have 3 beautiful, healthy kids, so couldn't ask for more.
Yeah, congratulations. Your beard seems about as short as I've ever seen it. Is that as short as it's ever going to be, do you think?
I don't know. I kind of got here close to playoff time, and that's usually when it is a little bit longer. But in the summer, I like to keep it a bit shorter, and a new season here, so got to keep it decently fresh at least. I'll try to manage it as best I can.
Getting to know you a little bit, it just seems like you're obviously a very team-oriented guy, low-maintenance guy. But given how well you and Evan Bouchard seem to find a connection, how much would you advocate for not having that pair broken up if that was ever to come to the mind of the coaches, just because you guys have seemed to found kind of a cohesive kind of pairing here?
Yeah, I mean, I was here for such a short time. They only had one choice really to try to find something that was going to work from the get-go, and then you ride it. So that's kind of what happened. Now it's a new season, and we'll see what the pairings end up being. I'm sure there's not going to be the same pairings all year. They're going to flip-flop and switch, but it's obviously nice to know that I thought we played pretty well together, and I'm knowing that in the back of the mind, regardless of what the pair is going to be here to start or to finish or whatever, there's always that familiarity. If things doesn't go your way, that they can always go back to that. But other than that, I think we have some really great defensemen on this team, and then some young guys that are coming up and I think can do some really, or play big parts of our team this year. So I'm just more excited to see where it all ends up, and then whoever plays with whoever doesn't really matter as long as we win games.
Hi, Mattias. I just wanted to ask about that mentorship role. There's some young players like Evan, like Broberg, I guess. Can you give me a thought on how much you can pass to those players? And when you were coming up, who were some of your mentors that helped you kind of make your way through the league?
Yeah, it's obviously, it's not that I go into anything trying to just have it as my job to help them, because they're great players. They just need, sometimes you just need to kind of talk to them, give them some advice, and they figure it out. I think that was the perfect example with Evan last year. Like, it wasn't like I did anything to him or told him to change something. It was more like, hey, just relax. You know, you're an offensive defenseman. You can't really worry too much about the mistakes defensively. You just got to make sure you make up for it offensively. And I felt like after that, he just thrived and played really well. So I think I'm trying to talk to Broby as much as I can too, because I think he's got all the skill, he's probably the best trained guy in the room. Like, he skates well, he can defend, he's big, he does have it all. He just, sometimes with young defensemen, they just need to find that mentally, that little last get over the hump, so to speak, where they get comfortable enough to just play their game. And I'm trying to do my best. Like, obviously we're both from Sweden, so it's easy. We can talk Swedish both, and just trying to give him as much advice as I can. But at the same time, I think it's more, he just needs to figure it out mentally and just feel like, okay, it doesn't matter if I make a mistake here and there. I have to play my game, and the good's going to come. And I think my biggest role model in Nashville, we had some really great defensemen come through the system, but Shea Weber is the one that comes to mind. The way, not only his on-ice play or whatever, but just the way he carried himself off the ice, the way he worked out. He was always in practices. He was really that blue-collar type guy. He was never thought he was better than anyone else, but he was just so good. Like, he was probably one of my favorite defensemen to watch. So to have the chance to come up in the system with him as a captain was really good. I think you can ask Ryan Ellis. I think you can ask Roman Josi. I think you can ask Seth Jones. They'll say the same thing.
And just last one for me, I know you have a high-scoring team here, but 5-4 games in the regular season turn into 3-2 games in the playoffs. I guess, just how important is it to develop that good defensive structure, because that's what you're going to need in the playoffs, and that might have been the difference in that Vegas series.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all know it. I think you guys have said the right things. I think we all know that it's going to be about just sometimes win a game, but maybe you don't deserve it. Win a game because you're just hanging on, because you're being stubborn defensively, and you get a chance in overtime, or you get a chance late in the period or whatever to go up 2-1 or 3-2, and your goalie's going to have to stand on his head sometimes. But it's a maturity for sure, and I think it's great because everyone seems to be realizing that it's okay to be that's where we got to get to, where it's okay to be in the D zone for a minute, for a shift every here and there, even if you are a 60-goal scorer, if you are a high-producing player. Like, you can't start after 20 seconds to just go on your own page and then try to do something, and then it hurts us in the end. I think that's the reality that we get to. I think that Vegas did a really good job against us with that. I felt like they were rarely out of position. I felt like they were rarely trying to cheat their system, and I think that's something that we all know in here, that because every year it turns into being that way. You can win 6-1 against whoever in the regular season, but usually the tight games in the playoffs are the ones we need to win, and in order to win those, I feel like we need to be a team that are very confident to be in our own end for 40, 45 plus seconds at a time, because it's going to happen.
Mattias, you played a lot with Evan Bouchard. On the penalty kill, you played a lot with Vincent Desharnais. Can you talk about, and there you're basically defending, what's the key to having good continuity as a defense pair on the penalty kill?
I think, yeah, what you're saying. I think it's good to play with the same guy, because I think both for forwards and D, because they're going to be pairs of forwards, they're going to be pairs of D. I think it's good when you can get that, because you work off each other a lot on the penalty kill. I feel like you're just trying to cover as much ice as you can, and you want to get to a point where if I see Vinny go, or if I see him hold off, I immediately know what to do. And if he goes, I'll have to go, or whatever. Like, you work in tandem that way. And I do think it's good to get reps together. I do think it's good to just get looks and reps together on it, because at the end, it's like anything. You don't want to be reacting to them. You want to be the one that initiates everything, and then want to be the one that jumps into your head of the play. Because when he's on the power play, like especially against ours, you have, like, if you're a half a second late, if you're a split second late, it's too late. So I think just getting reps together, getting to play together, I think that's the most important thing, and then just having a solid system that everybody buys into.